Are we there yet? Oh, I'm here. Hi, everyone, and welcome once again to Livestream. It is Wednesday, April Fool's Day, and I'm here. So I hope everyone's having a great night. I hope everybody's feeling well. I hope everyone's safe, staying at home, enjoying friends and family. Family and hope that you live with, and hopefully you guys are keeping in touch with relatives and just having a great night. Well, it's good to see. Well, we got a couple people in here. So what I want to talk about first off, I guess, is my last episode. It seems like it's doing pretty well. I am really impressed with. Actually, I'm happy to get all the emails I've been getting from people saying that, hey, this is great because I didn't realize about some of these emulators that you use for some of these different games. And, that's, of course, a good thing. Anytime you put up a video and people are saying, yeah, well, I learned something, or, that's always a plus. So it's a good thing to get feedback from people about videos, whether it be good or bad. That's always a good thing. I was very happy to hear, that some people learn something new about different emulators. There's so many out there for just about every game system and computer system. One of the ones I recently discovered that I'll be talking about in the next episode is going to be the one for Capcom games. They have they call them Capcom 1, 2, and 3. One thing I really liked about that is that it gives people the opportunity to play the Capcom games again from arcade, because in the past they had all pretty much been available on MAME. But then it seems with each new incarnation of MAME, some games or game companies get left out, are no longer available. Like, for instance, I remember years ago, I used to be able to play some of my favorite Neo Geo games, or all the Neo Geo games, on MAME. For instance, I remember playing World Heroes like crazy. And then just suddenly, out of nowhere, they stopped working. I'm like, all right, what? Evie! Sorry, it's my cat. She's crying. Usually when she's crying, it means that she wants my male cat, Mr. Carson, to walk her downstairs to the litter box or to eat. I know. Anyway, so, I mean, it's always nice when you have the ability to play some of the games, and just, play a lot of games that you like to play. And like I said, the emulators sometimes do change, especially MAME. It seems, like I said, as time goes on, MAME seems to take games out of it, that worked at one time. Because, like I said, I said in a previous video, I distinctly remember playing Us versus Them on MAME before. I mean, the full version, because I remember when you get towards the end of the game, you are going in that tunnel, and then like this little hole appears like in a brick, and you kind of slide in there, and it gets smaller and smaller. I remember that, not just watching the video here on YouTube, but I remember actually playing it and getting that far, because I would have never gotten that far in the arcade. But I don't know why that is, that stuff sometimes just gets taken off MAME. Who knows? But yeah, I'll show that on the weekend video about how I got the Capcom to work. And it's great to have all those Capcom games at your disposal to play, because it's nice to see the arcade version of like all the many incarnations of Street Fighter 2. And I got motivated, funniest, and one of the most informative gaming channels here on YouTube, and I really, learn a lot every time I watch her videos because, she's got an international flair on her videos, and you hear about games that may or may not have been released here in the United States on game systems or, for like some of the different computer systems, like I said, the Amstrad CPC and the Speccy. So again, it's really neat to watch other people's videos, from other gaming channels, and it helps you so that you can improve your own channel and your knowledge of gaming, increases. So it's a win-win situation for, I think, all gaming channels to like check each other out, not just, think of each other as competition, because we're not. We're all united in the fact that we all love gaming, and we just like to share our love of gaming with other people. So, I don't ever think of any other gaming channels as competition. Actually, I can't, because a lot of them have been around for like many, many years or over a decade, and they've got millions of followers, and I'm just starting out. So, I like to learn from them. Although, to be honest, there was a situation recently where, and I won't say who, but an long established gaming channel that's been around well over a decade, recently kind of used my AVP thing. So I don't know how I feel about that. It's, I don't know. Other people have done it, I guess, in the past, so it's not really a big deal. But I don't know. It just seemed kind of, I don't know. Seemed kind of weird that somebody would, with an established game channel, would kind of use something that a up and coming game channel is kind of, known for. But whatever. On the other sub channel, I guess you could say, I am still going on with the Skinnerd series, and I've got one more. What's the matter, Edie? What's the matter? Carson, be nice. Go with Evie. Evie. Yeah, I'm crazy about my cats. I love my cats. Probably more than like 90% of the people that I know. What was I saying now? Oh, yeah. So the Skinnerd series is still going. Now, I have one more studio album from the classic Skinnerd lineup. That is Give Me Back My Bullets. That's going to be this weekend. And then, of course, I have to cover one more from the road, their double live album. I mean, there were so many double live albums in the 70s, which is not a bad thing, of course. And then there's going to be more. You would think that, okay, are we going to go into the post, plane crash, Skinnerd? And I'm going to a point, yeah. But then there's going to be some other kind of like hidden stuff. Hidden gems, I guess you could say, that I'm going to present before I move on to the next artist. And I'm not sure who the next artist is going to be. It's probably going to be one of my all-time favorite band. Actually, probably will be my all-time favorite band. And if you've known me for any amount of time, you probably can figure out who that's going to be. So if you don't know, well, you'll just have to be surprised when those next videos start. I've got some ideas then too for the next other sub channel that I'm going to do about board games. I've got a couple of those ready. I've got the whole stack of the board games I think, that I'm going to do. I just have to decide which one I'm going to choose to go first. It doesn't really matter. I mean, it's funny because like some people think that, okay, well, maybe you should have let off with this one, or this one should be done before that one. And I guess that really doesn't matter, because if it's going to get covered, it's going to get covered. It doesn't really matter which order they're in. So if any of you like to discuss anything, like to talk about anything, leave a comment down below. I'll let you guys decide what we're going to discuss here. If you guys got any questions, comments, or like to just chime in, say hi, whatever, just leave a comment on the side there. So I hope everyone's feeling well. Hope everybody is staying safe. I know this can be aggravating sometimes, this whole stuff, but hopefully it won't be a whole lot longer. I know that they've extended a lot of the social distancing things, and quote unquote, well, I guess you could say lockdown or lockout, whatever, is going to be extended. But I think that, we'll be okay. As gamers, it's not going to be hard for us. Oh, hey, Master Second, nice to see you. Thanks for joining me. But what was I saying now? Oh yeah. But for gamers, it's not going to be that hard. We got, our video games to do here, and some of us are used to playing online and socializing that way. Like, hey, like playing, what's that one these kids are playing now? That shooting game. I checked it out, and it didn't appeal to me at all. Fortnite, that's it. Yeah, they're used to socializing on that and shooting each other up and all that. And I'm like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I have nothing against online playing. I certainly have nothing against shooting games, although I prefer the first person myself. But the last game I actually played like that, I guess you could say, was Halo. Oh, there's one of them pop-ups again. Halo was a lot of fun. I remember when I was teaching, we sometimes would have tournaments that we would play over the network, teachers and the kids during lunch hour, when we used to have a lunch hour, and we would play that against each other, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, and it kept the kids out of trouble, actually, because if the kids were playing, Halo, they weren't going outside and doing drugs or fighting or something. So it was a lot of fun. Until like a couple of the kids started like cheating. They'd put in like these cheat codes or something, and you'd shoot them. I mean, you just, you'd hit them with a sniper and they wouldn't drop. So we pretty much figured out, okay, somebody's putting in cheat codes. So then we would just say, okay, then you block them out of the room that we were playing on. But it went pretty well. Like I said, it kept the kids out of trouble, because you knew that if the kids were they weren't doing something else that they weren't supposed to be doing. So it worked out really well. And then what ended up happening was, in their brilliance, they decided to close down the school I was at and kind of consolidate us to another building. And so our building was one. It's a long story, but they wanted another school, wanted our building because we had a nice auditorium. And so we all got moved to another building. And when we were there, we kind of thought, okay, well, we can start this up again. We can all, we can start this up again, and, it'll be fun, and, everybody will stay out of trouble and all that other stuff, because now you have a school where you have kids from different neighborhoods kind of shoved together, and they said, okay, we're going to make this work. And we're like, no, we're not. But anyway, so we tried doing it again, and one of the places the kids used to play from was in the library, because, of course, the library has oodles and oodles of computers. So they're like, okay, we're going to do it again. So to get on to they tried to get on the computer, and the guy that ran the library was this kind of jerk. And he's like, nope, no games. No. You use these things for research and other stuff, but no games. So that put the end of that. And then, of course, things went pretty much to hell in a handbasket. But, that's just how it goes sometimes. But yeah, that's my last experience with that kind of gaming. Even I've tried it with some of the other games I have. Like I tried it with some of the different wrestling games, like the 2K games. And I always seem to, I don't know what the term is. It just seems like it glitches or something. Or like I was playing against somebody. I was playing on Royal Rumble. And then like the internet got funny or something, and all of a sudden, next thing I know, I'm being thrown out. And I was just doing fine 1 minute, and then all of a sudden, it's like out I go. Like, okay, so I pretty much decided, no. But also, I'm part of the older generation where when you played a 2-player game, you played in the same room with the person. So it just really never overly appealed to me. Excuse me. I remember in the past, one time I did participate with friends, like a LAN party. That was kind of fun. I remember we played, some of the ones we played. We did Quake. I wasn't really a big fan of that game. That's why when I did that video on first-person shooters, Quake wasn't covered. I really didn't overly care for that. We did Duke Nukem 3D. That's really showing my age there. Oh, God, I love that game. What was some of the other ones? One Red Alert. Now that is a fun game to play multiplayer on. If you never play a multiplayer game, if you ever play any game multiplayer, like a LAN game or something, you've got to play Red Alert. Now I'm going to be covering that game soon. I don't know if some of you if there's some of you out there that are watching this or going to be watching this, because it looks like I only got one person in there. I don't know. I kind of told people that this was coming. I kind of expected a better turnout. In the last video, I said that I was going to be doing this on this day and time. I guess I'm going to be trying to do this, every week from now on. But what was I saying now? Oh yeah, Red Alert. So great game. I'll be covering that in a video real shortly here. It's wow. That was a great game. I remember when that game came out. It's a sequel to Command and Conquer. And wow, that I still play that game. I'll still go back and like replay it over again. Just the storyline mode, and it's a great game. I really, really have a lot of fun playing it still, even nearly 30 years later. So if any of you guys have any memories you'd like to share about some of your favorite experiences online gaming, I'd like to hear about it. I haven't. I've done a little bit of it, not too much. Like I said, it always seems like something happens when I try doing it. Like I said, with the WWE games. But there's some people, of course, that live for that. They just, that's their life, is they come home from work or come from school, and then they'll just sit on Fortnite until one of their parents tells them to get off. Like I said, I don't really. That would have never worked when I was a kid growing up. My parents would have never let me play a game for that long. I would not have been allowed to play a video game for as long as it seems like these kids play Fortnite. It just would not have happened. And I really wouldn't have wanted to anyway. Like I said, my parents would not have gone for that. Probably like after an hour or so, more likely my mom would have come, what what are you doing? Why are you still on that playing that same damn game? Turn it off. Find something else to do. Even when I had my own place, like when I moved out of my parents' house, I would have never probably sat and played a game like that for hours on end. Okay, I would have, but I mean, not probably that particular one. Me personally, I prefer like the storyline mode of any game, which I think is one reason I didn't really overly care for Halo. And that's why I didn't really review it. I'm going to eventually. But I mean, when I did that big episode on the first person shooters, I didn't cover Halo, mostly because, like I said, the multiplayer mode is great. It really, really is. Kind of like the game Counter-Strike, the sequel to, I guess you would call it the sequel to Half-Life. But, I mean, Counter-Strike was specifically made for multiplayer. There is no story mode. I remember one of my students years ago bought Counter-Strike. He's like, there's no storyline mode. It's online only. And I was like, yeah, I found that out too. But, what was I saying now? Sorry. Oh, yeah. But, yeah, Halo was the storyline mode I thought was really weak. I was just not, I guess I'm used to really complex stories like in Half-Life. Wow. I mean, no wonder that's considered one of the greatest games ever made. I mean, the storyline mode was just really, wow, it was something. But unfortunately, it seems like the sequels, they kind of went in a weird direction with that. And from what I've heard, I don't think there's going to be any more Half-Life games ever, unless they're like fan made or something. But yeah, like I said, I did not really care for the storyline mode in Halo. I think I beat it in a couple days, and I'm like, okay. I think you're mostly like shooting at these weird alien creatures and stuff, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, Call of Duty. I've never really played that. I've watched my brother-in-law play. My brother-in-law is actually a few years older than me. But he loves though, and I love watching him. It's just fun to watch him because he's just like a one-man army. It's fun to watch him play that. I remember one time we actually did play against each other on, I don't know if you ever heard of the game called Left 4 Dead, and we played that. And after that, he like doesn't ask me to play with him anymore. Mostly because I kind of got an itchy trigger finger, and when we were playing Left 4 Dead, every time I heard a noise, I started shooting in that direction. And if you've played Left 4 Dead, you know that that's not really a good idea. So, because I really, yeah, especially with those witches, yeah. But like I was saying, yeah, a lot of the shooter games I think nowadays don't really hold up as well as the old ones as far as storyline mode. I've kind of noticed that with a lot of the newer ones. I asked my brother-in-law about that. I said, well, he's like, yeah, the multiplayer is great and blah, blah. And I said, well, how's the story mode? He goes, yeah, well, and I go, oh, okay. And then, like I said, some of them just don't even come with a story mode anyway. I remember he was telling me about that one Star Wars game, that Battlefront, I believe it's called. And he said, and I think one of those, I remember he told me there wasn't a storyline mode at all. It was just strictly multiplayer. And he said he was really mad about that. So, but I watched him play Fortnite, and he's like building all this stuff. And then they're just kind of like shooting and stuff. And, and I'm just kind of like, I don't really see the appeal. I mean, it's been done lots of times before that. What makes this game so much different than, Halo or something? I don't know. But I guess, even though he's actually older than me, I guess I'm much more old-fashioned than he is, because I'm of the school where I ask, the graphics are great. Look at the 3D rendering and the sprites, but is the game fun? And I think fun is more important than what the game looks like. Because honestly, I have no trouble playing the old games for like long periods of time. Like the other day, I'm preparing for an AVP on, I'm going to do an AVP on Space Invaders. Okay, that's a kind of a spoiler. Yeah, I'm going to be doing an AVP on Space Invaders, and I just had a blast. Get it? Blast, Space Invaders. But I really had a blast playing that, just like I did almost 40 years ago. I mean, that's just one of those games that, it's fun. Yeah, the graphics are kind of but the game was a whole lot of fun. It still is. And what's funny about Space Invaders, when you first start learning how to hack Atari games, that is the very first game that you learn on. It's kind of like it's the very first one. And when you look at a list of Atari game hacks, that's like there's so many of them of Space Invader hacks, and it's because that's the first one you learn on, because it's the easiest game to hack. Like the very first hack I ever made was Space Invaders called Rap Invaders. I show it on the intro sometimes. I don't think I've actually put it on an episode yet, but you can actually download it on the Atari Age forums in the section under hacks. You can actually download it. I put it up there. I actually made a mock-up cartridge for it and everything. Oh yeah, it is. I mean, it really is. And the thing is, yeah, people can say, "Oh, the game's 40 years old," and I'm like, "Yeah, but that was back in a day when games were fun." It wasn't totally based on the fact that, oh, look at the pretty graphics, look at and all that. But I'll tell you one thing though, Atari was back in the day. Atari really, really knew how to make nice boxes for those games. I mean, if you think about those early Atari boxes, that artwork is just amazing. I don't remember who the artist was. If any of you know who the artist was or who the artists were that did the artwork on the old Atari games, I'd really like to know, because I mean, those were just great. I loved, the cover of Adventure. That was a really cool one. I mean, before, I'm talking pre-Activision, but I mean, that artwork was just amazing on the box, on all those boxes. The combat, of course, that's iconic. The Space Invaders, it kind of reminds me of, I don't know which came first. Was it Space Invaders or the first Boston album? I don't remember which of them came first, but it kind of reminds me of the same kind of thing. It looks kind of like that cover, that spaceship, like on the cover of the first Boston album. And pretty much every other Boston album has like a spaceship kind of thing. Yeah, and as simplistic as those games were back in the day, yeah, we just had so much fun playing them. And then, even as time went on, the games were more complex, but yet, the games had, I guess better graphics and were more complex, but they were still great. Like, for instance, you take Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I did a whole video on that one. If you haven't seen it, check it out, because I showed you how to actually beat the game. Because now there's a guy on Atari Age, Rom Hunter. He beat it back in the day, but he's like a game genius, and he said he actually beat it without the book. And I believe him, because, like I said, the guy is just amazing when it comes to games. But like I said, I showed how to beat that. But I mean, if you think about it, the graphics on that were, still kind of simplistic, that Atari simplistic feel to it. But yet it was a very complex game. Like I said, if any of you have never played that, it's really, it's something else. Yeah, it's really an intense game, kind of like Quest for Quintana Roo. That was too. And of course, that was a fun. That was good. The 5200 version of that was great too. Of course, anything that was going to be for the 5200, of course, was great. And I'm going to continue with that series as well. I still got to go through the different prototypes, and there were a few. Like I said, every time you look at those prototypes too, you're like, wow, just it's like amazing, because you're like, wow. I mean, when a prototype looks like that, it makes you wonder what the finished product would have looked like. Now, as much as let me go on that subject real quick. I want to talk about that. As about the 5200 prototypes, I'd really like to see those get finished. We have a lot of people that are making homebrews of 2600 games and hacks of 2600 games. I'd really like to see those prototypes get finished. The prototypes, especially the complex ones. Now, on a 2600, I would love to see what was those games by Apollo, like Pompeii. That would be really cool to see what that would look like. What some programmer, a homebrew programmer, would do with what they got, what they could turn that game into. That would be kind of really cool to see. And on the 5200, if you've seen my first video I discussed, like that black belt. That would be great to see that finished. That would be kind of cool. They could put the collision detection in, and you could, go around the castle and get in fights and beat up guys, as opposed to going around kicking and punching and bouncing up and down, and go to room, which is all you can do now. That would be great to see. I'm not really sure how hard that is, as I'm not a programmer. I don't know how difficult that would be to get into an already started game and finish it. I'm not really sure. That would be probably a question for Thomas, for like a Thomas Jench or someone like that to ask, because that would be nice. Especially, like I said, if any of you haven't seen my episodes on the 5200 prototype, I already put one up. As I said, it's just amazing what those games looked like with what was done. And I know a couple of them have been finished. Like, for instance, Tempest, they actually did finish Tempest, because there was, a prototype for Tempest, and you could get it and play it. Well, I guess sort of play it. It had no collision detection. If you watch the video, Larry's shooting, but nothing's getting hit, and because there's no collision detection. You need to kind of put a new, and they did finish it. Using the programmers that originally started it, they actually finished it, and it's available for sale on AtariAge.com. Of course, you do have to have a working 5200 in order to play it. That's one thing I would love to have. I would love to get a working 5200. Unfortunately, I've been trying for months to get one, but unfortunately, every time I talk to someone about getting a 5200, they either it's not completely working. Like, I talked to one guy, and he's like, well, I got the 4-port, but, and that's the big but, the plug-in doesn't work, because it had that real weird plug-in where you see, probably, if it's well, that doesn't work. And then I talked to another guy, and he's like, okay, I got it, but I got a few controllers, but none of those work. And finding one that is completely working is the challenge. And then, of course, people want a lot for them. It's pretty much like a car payment. Anytime you see a 5200 for sale, and that is working. Now, I thought about getting it in parts, and then then like, okay, you got a working console. Then I got a working, at least 2 working joysticks. And then, just kind of get each part till I actually have an actual working 5200. And I don't even really want the 4-port, because I have nobody to play with. My daughter can come over. My daughter comes over sometimes. Well, not now, unfortunately, but I really don't have anyone to play with, and probably won't for a while. I don't think I could get my brother-in-law to play an old game with me. I could try, but then, I could try and say, hey, you want to play this, and see if I can get him to. He's got a channel, by the way, too. His are mostly just watching him play games. Yeah. And he doesn't have any commentary or anything. It's just watching him play like Fortnite and stuff. And I remember when he came over at Christmas and he goes, I got a channel too. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Let's check it out. And then he shows it and he's got like him playing Fortnite for 6 hours. And I'm like, 6 hours. Yep. Okay. Anyway, now I've actually recorded some footage off my PS4. Now you guys saw that if you saw the video I did on oh yeah, the Laserdisc game. I have game footage that I got from the Dragon's Lair trilogy. It is so easy. Like I said, yeah, it's real easy to record footage off your PS4. Like I said, you have that one button on the side on the joypad where you just double click it and it starts recording. So I got some really cool footage. I have some great footage off Everyone Virtual Golf. That I love that game. I got some really cool footage off that because I'm gonna do a second golf episode. And I'm going to show some of the footage off that because, man, that game is fun. I've just become so addicted to that game. Yeah. And I got some really cool. So I'm going to do one on that here shortly, too. I haven't done one of those instant classics in a while. The last one I didn't really do all that well. I did one, well, not the last one, or was it the last one? I did, what was that game? Just Cause. And, man, it was like, no, hardly anybody watched it. I'm like, oh, I kind of thought it would get more views. And then I'm looking at the views and I don't even think it hit 40. And I'm like, wow. Okay. I guess I like that game more than I guess a lot of other people did. So anyway, but to be honest, I'm really not feeling all that well tonight. I think it kind of shows. So I'm going to cut this short now. No, I'm not sick. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm just not feeling too good tonight. I'm kind of tired and stuff, as you can kind of see by my eyes and stuff. So I'm probably going to head back to bed. But this weekend coming up, I'll have the new episode, the second half of the emulators. I'll have that up. I'm going to have. God, that's a good question. I don't remember. I'll ask him. That's a good question. Hold on a second. Let me see if he's around. Ouch. Yeah, let me see. Let me see if he's around real quick. I'll find that out for you. Let me see. Got the phone. Got the phone here. Let me see. See if he happens to be around. Okay, see if he responds. I don't think he's at work right now. I'll stay on for a few minutes till I hear back from him. What was I going to say? Yeah, and then this weekend I'm going to try to get the board game episode up too. Like I said, I got quite a few. I was just surprised at how many board games I actually have. I got quite, like I said, yeah, I do got quite a few. Some of the ones I think my daughter still has at her house. I mean, some of the ones we used to play, I know she has some of them there. That is unless her mother decided to give them away, because her mother likes to do that, which isn't a bad thing. She does. When Joanna gets too old for some stuff, toys and stuff, she always donates them, which is a good thing. I mean, at least she doesn't just toss them; she donates them. So she might have. I'm not really sure, but let's see. I think. Oh, he's active. Let's see if he. Oh, I think he just came on. Let me see. It says he's active, and I'll put that in. I'll type that up for you as soon as I hear back from him. Okay, he's online. You could respond. But anyway, yeah, I apologize if I'm just kind of not really being not too enthusiastic or stuff. I'm just kind of feeling a little, I guess, I don't know. But so while we got someone on here, what but yeah, like I said, he's okay. We'll see if he responds. Anyway, so yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming up. I'm really looking forward to. I was also thinking about, for the on the musical memory side, I was doing some performing myself too. I was thinking about doing some of that. I have in the past, but I mean seriously performing, not just me and the puppets, because I had a side channel for a while where I was doing, performing with the puppets. That was kind of fun. We did a couple. I almost said Doctor Who. I mean, he's not talking to my brother-in-law. He's a Whovian. We did a couple Doctor Hook songs. Excuse me. We did Cover of the Rolling Stone, and then we did what was that? We did Sylvia's Mother. We really need to redo that Sylvia's Mother. We just lip synced it because we were kind of making fun of that show Lip Sync Battle, because usually when you watch that, they kind of got music on there. So, well, okay, I don't know. He may be busy. I don't know. I thought I was subscribed to it. I don't remember. I may be. I know she subscribed to my channel, but I don't quite remember what his is. But yeah, he's a master gamer. Like I said, my brother-in-law is no joke when it comes to any sort of game. He just takes to any game and just runs with it. Something literally. I mean, he's something. I've seen him just tear games up that it would take most people weeks and months to play. He'll just go jump right in and master it. I remember when my wife got me my PS4, she got me the Spider-Man edition, and he's like, "Oh, check it out! I'll show you." And he just, boom, he took off, and that game was a lot of fun. But man, it really wears you out. I was surprised because I've never actually had when I had a Wii and stuff. I mean, we have a Wii, but I mean, it's when you get done playing that Spider-Man game for PS4, I was wore out. Like I actually was in the game. I just kind of like, but no, it doesn't look like he's really. I think he just got on for a second. I don't think he's. I'll post it on the discussion and let you guys know what his channel is so you can check it out. But anyway, so I apologize for just not really being my usual self. But anyway, so I'll have the stuff up this weekend so you guys can check that out. And I hope everyone is being safe. I hope everyone's healthy, and because I care about all you guys. I really enjoy hearing from you guys. I love the likes and the views. It's great because this is a lot of fun to do this, and I really hope everyone that watches my videos and subscribe. I hope you and your families are all safe and are doing okay. And so, well, anyway, I'm gonna call this a night then, and so.